Hi guys, it's Miss Carly. I am here with this week's art lesson. So since we're close to Valentine's Day, I wanted to do a Valentine's Day project, but we're also going to learn a little bit about an artist during this as well. His name is Chris Uphues. He is a more modern artist, and there's actually a video hooked to this. It's an interview with him, so you can see him and see some of his artwork, so you should definitely watch that first, and then we can do our art project. So this art project is inspired by Chris Uphues and his artwork. So he does a lot of artwork with hearts, but he adds faces to the hearts. So they almost look like emojis, and they're all in really bright colors, and he adds bright backgrounds and stuff to them. He does them in murals. So we're going to use those and as our inspiration and do our own Chris Uphues hearts. So there's also hooked to this an sheet to help you guys look at ideas for eyes and mouths. So you probably want to have that open or print that off while you're working on your project so you can look for those ideas. For supplies, all you need is a piece of white paper, washable markers, so the markers that I sent home to you, or if you have Crayola markers, they need to be water-based and washable. You're also going to need either a Sharpie or a black crayon. Either one of those is fine. And then a paintbrush and a little cup of water will work. So gather all that stuff up and then come on back and we'll get started. Okay, so if you watched the video, you saw some of Chris's artwork in the hearts and the faces. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do like a picture with his hearts on here. So you can do it in pencil if you would like to first, or you can just go in with Sharpie and do it that way. But we want to layer the hearts. We want to have a bunch of them that we can look at. So I am going to do it in pencil first so I can figure out what ones I want in front and what ones I want in back. So you need to draw some hearts. If it's easier and you have a hard time drawing hearts, you can draw them on another piece of paper and then just trace over them or trace around them. Use them kind of as stencils. They don't have to be perfectly even. But we want to do a few on here because this is going to be like a collage of his hearts. So you want to spread them around your page, kind of even it out. You can have big ones, you can have little ones, you can have medium-sized ones, however you want to do it. And then the next step is to add the faces to these. So if you pull up that idea sheet, you will see some faces that you can copy. But first I'm going to trace over my Sharpie line, or my pencil lines with Sharpie. Like I said, if you don't have Sharpie, black crayon or colored pencil will work. You just want to press hard. You don't want to use a black Crayola marker because when the water hits it, that's going to spread out and you will lose your black line, which we don't want. Now one of the things you can do with this is layer hearts on top of each other like I did here. So I knew that I wanted this one on top, so I didn't trace that line in there. So that's probably why you want to use pencil first, because then you can come in with your eraser and erase out any pencil lines so you don't see them. All those extra pencil lines. Okay. Now we're going to add the faces. So you can look at that idea sheet and use some of those faces that you see. The eyes and mouths. Pick ones that you like. You're going to add a face to each heart. And if you noticed in his mural behind him in the interview, his hearts and faces were all pretty simple, but very brightly colored. So your eyes don't need to be super detailed. And just find some that you like. Or if you have your own, or can come up with your own, you don't need to use any on the idea sheets at all. You can come up with your own if you would like to, that's fine too. I was just using the idea sheet in case you had trouble and needed to have some ideas. Okay. This guy is really little. That. And then one more. And then what we're going to do with these is use our markers kind of like a watercolor. And I think I've done this before in other videos where you draw it first and then add water over the top and it turns into a watercolor. Okay, so we got our faces on there. So now you're going to take your watercolors, or your markers, I'm sorry, and all you're going to do is do a thick outline inside the heart. You don't need to color the whole thing in. The water is going to hit it and spread out, but you do want that line to be fairly thick. So it's probably best to try and use the side of your marker. If you lay it kind of on its side, it makes a wide line. But you want it to be pretty thick. The thicker it is, the more color you're going to have. Just spread it into. I'll just do this one and then I'll start the watercolor part so you can see it. Okay, so you're going to do that to all of them. Any colors you want, but you want it to be pretty thick. If you want a little color inside some of the features, you saw that I added little lines. These. He uses lots of very bright colors in his paintings. So you could do a variety of colors. You don't have to stick to just one. Okay, and now what you're going to do is get your water, get your brush wet, and you're just painting, oops, too wet, right over the top of that marker, and it will turn into a watercolor. It takes a little bit, especially with purple, but just go back and forth and drag it in and it turns into a watercolor. So it's going to be a really, really, really light wash. Of watercolor. Go to the next one. So it's going to look like it has an outline. There, blue works better. There you go. Now you can see it. And fill it in. And it turns into a watercolor, but it has a nice thick outline. So it's a nice combination. You probably want a thinner brush if you have it. That's, I think, my mistake here. So go around the outside, bring it to the center, And you're going to continue that on all of your hearts until all of them have been painted and have watercolor inside. If you have used Sharpie, the Sharpie won't go anywhere when the water hits it. If you use crayon, crayon won't go anywhere. So you'll be able to see your lines still in the faces. Now, one other thing you can do once this dries, you can add a background, a bright background if you wanted to. You could just do some simple lines and patterns with your markers. So you could do some polka dots in all different colors. My suggestion though is that you do these polka dots and whatever you want to do in the background once this watercolor part has dried, because if you hit that with watercolor it'll spread. Unless that you want to do that too, that's fine, because if you go over the top, that's going to spread out. So it's up to you however you would like it. But either before or after you do the lesson, you should definitely check out that video, the interview with Chris Uphues, look at some of his work. You can Google him and see all of his hearts and paintings and murals that he has done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this and enjoyed learning about a new artist. I'm sure to you guys, you've probably never heard of him, so you should check him out. Hope you enjoyed it. If you guys do one of these paintings, either post it onto Google Classroom or email it to your teacher. I'd love to see these and include them in any sort of virtual art show that we have. Have a good day, guys. I'll see you next time.